Hello everybody, my name is Cezary Giluk and it is my ninth presentation. You can find all previous ones at my Patreon channel. Please support me as I'm not monetized by anybody and it takes resources, equipment and quite a time to deliver those presentations to you. Give me a thumb up, subscribe, become a member or buy me a cup of coffee. Links below. A bit more about myself at the end of presentation. Let's go directly to the subject. Today's topic, Trump peace agreement. I hear a lot of experts talking of what Trump's view of Ukrainian-Russian peace agreement will be. They must have extremely clean thumbs, as most of their predictions are sucked out of it. Some of them, as the time passes, give so many different predictions that whatever will happen, they always can say that they predicted it. It is like predicting in the exact weather in the future. Weather, temperature, how sunny day will be and rain or no rain. I can make 10 different predictions and when that day will claim that I was right. Trump is unpredictable and nobody really can say what his plan is. He already claimed that he will end war within 24 hours when he becomes president. It was changed to 100 days from that date. What is extremely important in the equation are Trump and Putin egos. Putin information is provided by people who want to be seen as winning the war and give over-exaggerated results of what is happening on the front lines. Communists and Russian way of reporting is to report great successes regardless how small they are in real life, and cover up losses and report enemy losses a lot greater than they really are. Based on reporting, Putin has his own view of what happens on the front lines, which is probably far away from reality. There was a case when Ukrainian town was reported as taken over by Russians, and few weeks later it was still in Ukrainian hands. Communist Russians' mentality does not treat failure too well. Consequences may be loss of position and what goes with it, salaries, which are bigger as higher position you held, or even arrest for whatever reason can be thought of. Some of them can actually commit suicide, jumping from windows, or simply disappear from view without any trace. Reporting of actual situation or recommending other ways of doing things is not something you want to do in Russian military environment. Even if what you recommend is a lot better way to do things than it is done. And commanders don't like to be seen as incompetent or not having the best plan of action. Coming back to the subject, Trump and Putin egos. None of them want to give up to the other side, pressure to be put on, and other side being in winning position. Based on the information Putin is receiving, Russia is doing extremely well on the front lines. Putin is very far from being flexible and will push his point of view, which may be far away from Trump's point of view. There are already some ideas propagated by Russia's main media of what Putin's requirements may be, like keeping all areas they took over, plus all 4 oblasts which are partially occupied to be part of the peace settlement, reducing Ukrainian army, no enrollment of Ukraine into NATO, and a lot more points which are totally unreasonable to anybody thinking logically, and not to include Ukraine in negotiations. By the same, those points are being talked over on Russian television and probably in Russian newspapers. Trump has his own ego and wants to impose his own point of view during negotiations. There is a chance that Putin won't be flexible in negotiations, forcing his own point of view and pushing Trump to accept his conditions, and finally Trump may have enough and align with Ukraine supporting the war. Putin is fully aware of the situation on the front lines. However, it is a lot more optimistic than real one, as information he has is based on what is reported to him, which is a lot more optimistic than what is happening in reality on the front lines. He is aware about increased difficulties in acquiring new soldiers to the army, increasing signing bonuses and wages of new soldiers. Putin is also aware of the difficult situation of Russian economy, huge payments to contractors and companies manufacturing military equipment, a number of bankruptcies, and of course of very high inflation. He actually last year blocked rising of bank interest, as it would put economy in disastrous shape, and there would be a possibility that people and businesses would have enough. Current interest rate of Federal Bank is 21%, and you have to remember that banks' interest rates when dealing with personal or commercial loans is few percent higher than Federal Bank. In addition, Russia is running out of arms. The armaments are around 70% lesser than the war was started with. In the first 2 years of the war, losses of manpower and equipment were a lot lesser than in 2024. There is a good chance that Russia will run out of reserves even as soon as autumn 2025. So we are back to Trump and Putin. Both have high egos, and there is a hope that they will be in conflict. Putin tries to push war with mid-wave attacks, desperate to gain as much territory as possible before negotiations with Trump will start. Being convinced of how successful Russia is in conducting war, will start making demands which will be totally unreasonable for Trump, who finally will have enough and either give Putin his own conditions, which may be not acceptable by Putin, or give up on any chance of negotiations and will align himself with Ukraine. This could be the best outcome, as America would increase military support of Ukraine, and Trump would also push Europe to increase support with armaments and also allowing Ukraine to use long-range missiles on territory of Russia, and also push Germany to allow Ukraine to do the same. I am not an expert predicting what will happen, but looking at different scenarios. In the next 3 to 6 months, we have answers to a lot of questions we have now. Personally, I think there is a good chance of Trump aligning himself and US with helping Ukraine. We just have to wait, and in the meantime, Europe needs to rethink how to implement bigger help for Ukraine if Trump cancels or reduces help to Ukraine. This war is not Russia attacking Ukraine, but Russia starting full war with Europe. Please support me, as I'm not monetized by anybody, and it takes resources, equipment, and quite a time to deliver those presentations to you. Give me thumb up, subscribe, become a member, or buy me a coffee. Links below. Now a bit about myself. My name is Cezary Giluk. I'm not military or political science specialist, but have a lot of common sense, watch a lot of social media and news about what is happening in Ukraine, and have a point of view which, in a lot of cases, is different from experts on social media. To share my look at what is happening in Ukraine, I have created my own channel, Common Sense and Ukraine. Slava Ukraine!